Hi everyone, Angela here. I wanted to make a lightweight baby blanket, so I used 2 pieces of cotton flannelette. I washed, dried, and pressed them, and then placed them with right sides together. I straightened and squared off the bottom and also cut away the selvage edges from one side. You can make this blanket any size, but I'm making it a stroller size and cutting it 30.5 inches wide by 35.5 inches long. I'll leave a link for a size chart. On one side, we'll leave an opening about 4 or 5 inches wide, mark it with double clips or pins. Then if you need to, clip or pin all around. I'm using a Brother NV50S sewing machine. The link for this and the tools I use can be found down in the description. Make sure to use coupon code NOTCHES NV50S for the special offer. Using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, start with a back tack at the bottom of the opening. When you get to the corners, stop 1/4 inch from the edge. With your needle down, lift your foot and pivot. Make sure to have a look on my channel for my other methods to make baby blankets. When you've sewn all around, back tack to finish at the top of the opening. Trim all the corners, making sure not to cut any of the stitching. Carefully separate the layers and the seams, and then press all the seams open flat. Make sure to press right up into the corners. Don't skip this step because it'll make it so much easier after you turn it right side out to press the seams right in the center. Go in the opening and gather up the fabric and push out the corner. Use a knitting needle or a point turner to poke out all the corners. Repeat for the rest of them and turn right side out. If you're finding this video helpful, make sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on all notifications, and leave a comment below. Center all the seams and press all around. If you wanted to make a plain blanket without the blanket stitching, start at the top of the opening by placing the edge on the inner right side of the foot. Move the needle position over to 4 and increase the stitch length to 3.5. Back tack at the start and finish and pivot at the corners. Having the longer stitch gives you a more professional looking finish. To add the blanket stitching, we have our 1/4 inch seam along the edges, so I'm going to add marks 3/8 of an inch from the edges and in from the corners. This way I'll only be stitching through 2 layers instead of 4. Now marking around is completely optional. You can definitely do the blanket stitching by eye. Make sure to use some type of vanishing ink pen. If you can't get perfectly equal spacing, you can just adjust a few of the marks. If you need to, clip the opening together to hold in place. You can use any cotton or yarn of choice. I'm using a rayon yarn because it has a little bit of shine and it feels really soft and silky. I'm also using a chenille needle with a very large eye and a sharp point. Thread a nice long length and make a knot at the end. Start the stitching from the opening. Place your needle in and come out at the top of the seam directly above one of the marks. Pull the yarn through to hide the knot inside. Pull firmly, bring your needle around and go in through the next mark. Keep your needle straight when going through and not on an angle, otherwise the back can look a bit uneven. Come up with the needle in front of the yarn and pull through. Pull it firmly at the top and hold on to it as you do the next stitch. Keep repeating this, making sure your needle's always in front of the yarn. When you have about 8 inches of yarn left, at the top, stitch through the seam right beside the yarn and then pull tight to create a nice corner. Go back in that very same spot to create a loop and then pull your needle through the loop to create a knot. To hide the end of the yarn, push your needle into the seam between the 2 layers. Just make sure you're not coming through the other side. Pull on the yarn slightly and cut. To start a new length of yarn, put your needle in between the 2 layers and come up at the top just under and to the left of the yarn. Pull through, leaving just a couple of inches at the end. Now place your needle just below the yarn and pull through, creating a small loop. Pull the needle through the loop, creating a knot, trim off the end, and continue stitching. When you get to the last stitch at the corner, instead of moving on to the next mark, go through that same mark at the bottom 2 more times. This will create a nice triangular detail. You just need to adjust the yarn at the corner a bit. When you're back at the start and you've sewn your last stitch, flip over to the back, push the yarn over a bit, and then just stitch through, catching only the back layer. Pull tight and then go in again just beside it, and then come out below between the 2 layers. Now, I'm not a needlework expert, so if you have a better method for the blanket stitch, please let me know down in the comments. To remove the marks, I just spray water with my fine mist spray bottle and dab with a cloth. I hope you like the look of this lightweight blanket. Thanks again for watching. Take care and see you in the next video.